Let's switch it up and play something else. I'm not that good, but I have fun. That's the most important thing, I think, especially when music's concerned. If you don't feel good about playing or doing it, just do it alone. That's what I do. The fact that I share it here, that it means nothing. This is just music I do alone. That's the level of musician I am. So well, one person showed up to watch, so we'll get started. Other than me playing a little bit of guitar, we're here to talk handcuff escapes. These are handcuffs. I'm sure you've seen them before. Probably all associate them with police officers and such. They're not the only people who get a hold of them and put people in handcuffs. So, all in all, it's worthwhile for people to learn how to escape handcuffs. Right? That's what I think. So, we are going to learn how to escape handcuffs. Just go through all the different things that it's a good idea to do, all the little steps that help you improve at getting out of handcuffs. And then from there, you can get into like crazier escapes, chains and locks and things like that. Tequila Dave, Happy New Year to you, sir. Anyone that bothers to show up, we're going to just talk all the basics of learning to escape handcuffs, man. Got your first... Oh, that's awesome. Man, you've been really racking it up on the collection. It's awesome. They're a lot, the keyway and the shimming and everything's a lot tighter than like a Chicago or a Peerless. And probably tighter than, well, tighter or as tight as the TCH that I think you have. I have my TCH. One side's really tight, the other side's okay tight. So it's hard to tell what the actual gauge for TCH is. So what I say we start with, well, you know what? Nobody here but Dave. Dave already knows anything else I'm going to say. So I can take my time to set up. And look for... there they are. I got to look for these. If we're going to talk about learning to escape cuffs, we're going to have to talk about what's going on inside a cuff. And this is a great little explainer for what's going on inside a cuff. Yeah, shimming is difficult with the S&Ws. There's no room for a side shim, and there's very tight tolerance on the shim. So whatever's gonna work. In fact, I mean we'll jump back to the lesson at hand. But since Dave's here and talking about it, yeah, very tight. And it's been a while actually since I picked up this pair, other than an occasional pick. So shimming. Where's my shims? You know what? Let me get my shims out of my wallet. That's my wallet. And that's where I carry a lot of my shims and tools. So, out of the different commercial shims you might buy from such as like Southern Specialties at lockpicktools.com, it's the thinner ones that actually get in there The thicker ones are much harder work. You got to really, kind of slowly work each click or to the edge of the click to try to get that in, work it down. But if you got something thin enough on the Model 100, you can still get in there without too much movement. Whereas on the Chicagos and Peerless and things like that, if you got something thin enough, you can get in under there without having to move the bow. So that matters. Anyway, we're going to go back to the beginning. Dave got me distracted. We're talking handcuffs, how to escape. So you have the arm, the bow, the body, the thing that in there, that red ratchet looking thing that holds that in place is the pawl. That's the red part. The yellow part's the spring. That's what pushes the pawl up and makes sure it's pushed up to prevent the bow from coming back out. But the way the teeth are angled, it allows it to continue to ratchet that way. The blue part is the double lock. When you, where's my tool? There's one of them. When you engage the double lock, see it slide over, and it keeps the spring from being able to push down, so the pawl cannot push down because it stops either with the spring, depending on the model, either with the spring or with the pawl. It will move into a position that doesn't allow everything to move. So to get this down, you got to move that back over and then figure out a way to move that down. So if you're doing with the key, let's see, push that back over, pushes the pawl down, and apparently it does not work. Oh, there we go. And it allows the bow to come out and release the wrist. So that's what we're talking about. This is a vertical keyway in the style of Smith & Wesson or Chicago. But I recommend, if you're starting out in handcuff escapes, you get a pair of Peerless 700Cs. You have a good, solid pair of metal cuffs. Hey, Lock Dude, what's up, my brother? He's my second man. He's my second Shacklemen in the chat. Second person in the chat. That's fine, dude. If it's only Shacklemen in the chat, dude, it's a positive chat. You know what I'm saying? So, Peerless 700Cs. Why are these great to start with? Like I said, they're a real cuff. They have been used by law enforcement agencies. They're solid. They're metal. But they have all of the flaws basically available to them. So, and I'll show you one of them real quick. I'll show you two of them real quick. So, shimming, as we says, when you get between the teeth of the bow and the teeth of the pawl, and it pushes the pawl down to allow the bow out. So there we go. And this is the Peerless, so this thin shim is pretty awesome. I gotta push in pretty far, so that would be a very small wrist right there, but still you'd get out. Yeah, you're free. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm talking about tolerances. One of the tolerances involved is how much wiggle happens at that joint of the arm and the bow. And if you can see, there's some wiggle there. So there's a bit of a sloppy tolerance. That's going to affect other parts of the cuff. The tolerance that allows the shim into the gap and to push the pawl down and allow the bow out is another spot that you can exploit. The Peerless are good because they also, with a paper clip, not underneath the pawl or the arm to against the pawl, but in that little corner right there. It's kind of on the side and underneath. You get a paper clip in there. You can. Apparently I can't. Jesus Christ, what just happened? There's the one thing. Oh, there we go. Like that. Paper clip shim. Little side shim. Wait, Nola? Is Nola here? Mr. Nola himself. GP Rider. Rider is on the storm. I think of that every time I see your name, GP. I just can't not think that. Lockdeed, what's up again, man? Tequila Dave, I did say hi. Dirty Diana. You stress me. Oh, D-Max got some A4s, man. I'm waiting to see some cuff videos from D-Mac. And we're going to be, well, after the TCH 850s, the 10 challenges that the Shacklemen are doing, we're going to actually do a series of challenges with the Peerless 700s. So this is good pay attention time if you want to participate. So when you are learning handcuffs, the very first thing we tell you to do is when you get your handcuffs is check your handcuffs. So you should take your key, get in there, make sure it works fluidly and smoothly and opens. And do that with both cuffs if you can find the hole. There we go. And then what you're going to do is you're going to check the double lock. You're going to make sure that it works fluid and smooth. Releasing your double lock. And then opening your cuff. Once again, we're going to go this way. Release that double lock. And then we're going to release the cuff. You want to do that a few times. You want to make sure that they open smoothly again and again. There's nothing catching. I actually have a pair of cuffs that something catches in, and it's caused for more than a half hour of trying to figure out how to get the cuffs off my wrist because they wouldn't open. I've also had keys where that little nub right there busts off. And I was learning and practicing cuffs with double locks. I couldn't get out. Tried to use a key busted. I was actually at work. That's not the best place to be doing it. So I was in a panic. I had to make a tool and get out of them. So those are the different reasons. You want to test your key. You want to test your cuffs. You want to make sure everything's working. And then when you get to there, we like to say that your second step, well, I'll just go ahead and do this step. But when you start cuffing yourself, you want to make sure you have extra key tools, keys. We always have extra keys on lanyards, usually within reach or around our necks. So you don't want to just rely on one tool. Like I said, they can break. All those things can go weird. So you're going to put yourself in cuffs. You're going to smack your phone. And then the first thing you ever want to do is you want to take your key and you want to get yourself out of the cuffs with the key while you're cuffed up. And it sounds easy, and it relatively is easy, but you have to bring your hand down. You have to deal with these cuffs being in the way. And it starts to let you know how weird and hard this thing you're doing is. And then it also teaches you to start using your left hand as often and as equally as you're using your right hand. There you go. So once you've done that, when you did that the first time, you're going to do it with, let's talk about this. So that's a hole. We all know what a hole is, right? Dirty Diana, you know what a hole is. So if the hole's facing away from you, towards the way your hand's going, we call that holes out, holes down. If the cuff hole is facing up towards you, that's holes up, which generally is harder to get to if your hands are on this side. If the bow closes from the top, bow's up. The bow closes around the bottom, bow's down. So bow's down, holes out, bow's up, holes up. Make sense? All right. So after you've done the Hollywood pose, as Coxie says, which is bows up, holes out, you want to switch it up. You want to do, bows down, holes coming at your body. And you want to do the same thing you did before. And take your key and figure out how you're going to angle your wrist down. And once you start doing that, you can only use a few fingers. And you're going to bring your wrist around and get it into that cuff and drop it. See what I did? Sounds like it's going to be easy. But it's one of those things that if you actually practice doing it, you can get really good at it. I probably need more practice. So, now, we've checked our cuffs, checked our equipment, our key. We've put ourselves in cuffs. We've learned that if we have a key, that in any of the positions, we can get ourselves out with the key. So we should feel comfortable being able to cuff ourselves up, move forward, and learn, practice, try getting out of the cuffs more. It's kind of the whole point of that beginning, coming into cuffs. If you hold on, I need to grab a drink. Cheers to you. Happy New Year's. Did the ball drop? I don't know. I'm not paying attention. I'm about to check the chat. I see Noah, Lock Dude, some guy named Tom. What's up, Tom? Tom, I have so many keys available. I could drop a key, throw a key, swallow a key. My cat could steal 3 keys. I'll be fine. I'm past using the key anyway, man. For the most part, you know. Not that I don't. And then the other thing, since we're talking about that, I have these tools right here, which are key tools. I have a third. This is one you can actually put in different keys. I have a lockpick in there, but it works as a key. So the benefit of these, as you were saying, while I'm cuffed up, it's hard to reach down and do that. Well, it's a lot easier to reach down with this long tool If it's longer, you can hit it. You know what I'm saying? Spoken from experience. Anyway, sorry. So let's progress beyond that. We're going to talk about shimming. We'll do a little shimming. As we said, shimming. See the groove down in there. Little teeth and that pawl catches these. So you got to put something between those, as long as the double lock is not engaged, or after you have picked the double lock, but you start with this side and then you work your way up double locking. So let's put ourselves in some cuffs and shim. I got a bow up and a bow down. I will use a commercial shim. It's a nice thin shim. These cuffs have a good sloppy tolerance. So when you're cutting the cuffs, the challenge here is to be able to control the shim so it's going where you want, because you have to depress the cuffs a little bit to get the shim into the gap. So you have to block the back of the cuff, press the bow of the cuff, and control the shim at the same time with one hand. One good cheat to that is if you're holding it in front of yourself, you can push the back of this against your legs, or if I'm like here, I'd push it back against the table. So then I don't have to reach down and control the back of the cuff. I just have to push on the top of the cuff while I'm controlling the shim. There we go. It makes it a lot easier because you only have to control 2 points instead of 3. And the most delicate point generally is your shim, because you don't want to be bending it up and twisting it around and losing where the spot's at. So it's very important to get that right. The other side of that is, in a weird way, in this situation, bows down is actually easier, because in trying to hold the back of this and push when I'm doing the shim, it's easier to control and push with those than if I'm trying to do it this way and hold or do anything with the pinky. So it's one nice little difference about various positions you're involved in. My favorite found shim is one of these hair clips. I'll show you how to turn it into a shim in just a second, because I don't think I have any pieces of it left anywhere. All right, let's... Sorry, I was looking for more cuffs. Okay, we'll use those. We'll use these. We'll use these. So, in the unlikely event that I found myself trapped in 3 pairs of handcuffs, and this was my option to get out, what I'm going to first do is bend that down. What I'm going to second do is I need one of these sides for my shim. So, I gotta do with any little thin metal. Let's create a nice crease on a piece of it, and work back and forth until it busts free. Bend the rest out of my way. Now, weirdly, more room on the cuff makes it a little harder to control because it's flopping around on my wrist. So I would prefer to tighten that cuff before I try to escape out of it. That's not to say that I can escape out of it. It's to say that I fully intend to escape out of it. It's one of those defeat is not an option things. Because if I get defeated, I have to call my wife to come get me out of the cuffs. Oh. See, sometimes things happen. If I'm stuck, send bourbon. Now, the other thing is when you have multiple cuffs on, it's harder to move into the various little positions you need to move in. Yeah, that's what's it. Ooh. I'm not making it. So my shim demonstration has failed so far. Like I said, determination. Oh, come on. Only get one. Oh, I might have it. Oh. All right. Oh. Don't want to work that way. It's working. You do what you got to do. Open is open. Off is off. Oh, there it is. Ow, shit. Ah, there we go. All right. Let's get down to one. It's really easy to control. So, it's the fun thing about doing multiples is, hopefully it makes you getting better at doing one. Maybe not. Scheiße. Well, I lost the damn shim. Oh, there it is. Nope, that's not it. If you see it, type where it is in the comments. What the hell is it? Oh, shit. Alright, sorry. I'll make another one. I'll use that. So the nice thing about the hair clip is it does have two pieces. Although when you bust it off, there's a lot of burr on that. So that's what's causing the problem getting in. Once you use this a couple times, it's actually like just a dream. For sure. It just does that without the hesitation. See, this one's tight as fuck. And then I loosened up some room. I lost the shim, but you know, I'm gonna re-engage it. I got plenty of room this time. And I thought I went too far. Why? difficult. I should probably just do one cuff when I'm starting to do a demonstration. All right, we'll talk about the next step. Bounce around my camera. Whoa. And again, cheers. I hear fireworks going off outside. Happy New Year's. If it already happened for you, awesome. Oh, Not Too Dead. What's up, my brother? Happy New Year's, man. Hope you're doing good. Makes me realize I gotta check the fucking things. G Technos, Technico, Loco, something. What's up, Tom? Nola, Devil the Dude. This is the hard way. Always the hard way, man. The hard way teaches you more than the easy way. That's what I've learned in life. I mean, it hasn't helped, but it teaches you more. Seems to be caught up. My brother, dude. Mr. Not Too Dead, dude. I hope you understand. I don't know, without getting too deep, last 10 years have been shit. I was going to quit from life this year, and then found lock sport and all you cats. And, you know, having fucking friends like Not Too Dead and, you know, Nola in my life are, you know, made the difference. So I'm very thankful for you guys, man. And this is the first time I've gone into a end of a year and I've been like, yeah, this year was great, and I'm looking forward to next year. Like not oh, last year sucked, man. I hope next year's better, man. Like just literally, oh, this was awesome, and I want it to keep going. And I thank you guys for that, man. Not Too Dead, dude. You know, you're a huge part of that, dude. You know you are. And if you don't know that, then fucking now you know. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Nola, and I mean all my dudes, dude. But you know, dudes that are my everyday dudes, dude. You know, I got to give you guys those guys the love. All right, Tom, thank you very much, man. And I'll do a little bit of subscribe stuff or membership stuff. Most of anything coming in for memberships kind of moves over to Mid-Made Locksport, which is a channel I have and a group I have for supporting veteran lock sporters. Nola's a vet, Not Too Dead's a member of the group and a big supporter. So you know that's what we do. Am I a cop or am I just freaky? I'm actually not really either. Although I'm gonna start teaching handcuff classes and things like that to some people that need to know it, and that includes freaky people and cops. You know what I mean? So if you get freaky and you lose a key or a key breaks or some shit goes wrong, you need to know how to get out. So, all right. So we talked a little bit about shimming. We'll look at a couple different commercial shims. Oh, that's one of my worn in ones, I think, from the hair clip shims. And so you got different stuff. You got nice rounded, you got split pawls for the high security, you got things you can make. I've made shims out of plastic plant tags. You can, depending on what cuffs you're working with, you know, certain bobby pins can get in there. This is an oversized bobby pin. That's great for a pick. It's too big for a shim. Peerless, you can really like waggle and jam that thing in there after you peel that stuff off the end and get it. So you're getting in between. So after that, you want more control of the cuff, or it's a cuff like the Smith & Wesson Model 100s or Smith & Wessons in general. You don't have that paperclip side shim spot. It's really tight. All the things that you can shim this with don't fit in here. You can't get it in. What do you got to do? You got to learn to pick the cuffs. So there's probably a better primer and example of saying it, but in my opinion, the two schools trying to pick the single lock on the cuffs are the straight pointy, the straight pointy pokey, and the curved swoopy. So the straight pointy pokey is a term designed by Coxie at Coxie's Picks, of course. It comes from just a straight usually you want some sort of corner or edge because you're trying to catch something. You'll see that this oversized bobby pin has a similar squared off cornered edge to it, and thus makes it similar in picking. The only hard thing about that is it's a little thicker than this pick that I sanded down to be the perfect thickness to get in here nice and smooth every time I want it. So when you're working with found items, it's not going to be an easy pick. Gotta kind of work it, feel what you're feeling for, get to it. Maybe you'll have to come around this way, and circle a few times trying to catch and release, but that's what you're doing. So when you're starting to try to figure out how to pick, what you want to do is take your key, put it in your lock, and you're going to turn it to just the point where it starts touching something. Now that angle right there tells you the point you need to get to pick the pawl, because that's the point that the key is picking the pawl. So right there is where the key releases the pawl. See the angle of that? Doesn't turn much. That's touching. That's released. You only move the pawl that tiny bit. So when you get in there with this, we're doing the straighty pointy pokey. So I'm going to get in there. I know my point's right about here. Get in there, feel for it, and adjust. Now I'm going to push and walk around the corner. So if I'm not quite at the right angle going here, I'm going to be adjusting to here, to here, to here. I'm going to work the clock with the pressure just beyond the bottom of that opening. So that's what you're doing. Why don't I do a quick 3-cuff straighty pointy pokey escape? Soggy gasoline. Love what you're doing. Lots of people on here trying to teach people what they don't know. Try opening it with a notch decoder. If you have one, it doesn't need to be used for decoding. The notch decoder is an absolutely awesome shim. I have notch decoders in my handcuff escape kits because they're a great shim. You can actually get into there and pick some cuffs and stuff, but you're going to bend it up real fast because notch decoders are very thin. So it's not going to last very long. It's a 1 to a couple time use one, but it's just not, it's not ideal for, like a long-term use tool. Other than having it in your kit for when you need it. So if you were paying attention earlier, when you're grabbing the key and trying to come down, these cuffs are in the way, and it's going to mess up what you're doing, or it's going to make it harder, change your angle and things like that. So as I've found, if I'm trying to pick my way out of this, normally when I'm going to write with a pencil or anything like this, or I'm going to pick with the lock, I'm going to try to do this. It makes my wrist have to come around much harder on the angle. It's harder to control. I have less room. It's just less to do. So I've figured out that if I just change the angle of this, now this is more up and down as opposed to something like this. I'm trying to course correct. And if I need to have a little bit of correction, I have plenty of room to flex either way. So, which means I can get in here and pick 3 cuffs pretty fast. No problem. The slowest part of picking the other side is passing the pick to the other hand. That's the straighty pointy pokey method. It's more precise. You got to kind of know where you're going. You got to be able to feel what you're doing. You got to know how to work where you're at, and you got to be able to hit it. A little bit of a sloppier method you can approach with. Not sloppier, but you know, on your way to learning the pointy pokey, you can learn the swoopy. I'm a big fan of the swoopy because it allowed me to get to the pointy pokey. At this point, I just kind of keep on saying pointy pokey and swoopy and wait till someone goes, what the are you talking about? So I am going to check the chat though. Tom, I'm thinking. Tom, that's not true. I've been put in cuffs by cops many a time with cuffs in front of me when they put me in the back of the car, put me on the curbside. They detain you for a while. They only go to, this is what I'm going to tell you about right now. Cops only go to regulations when they're swooping you up and about to take you to the jail. That's when they care about the regulations. And cops aren't the only people that ever put you in cuffs. If you've never been restrained by somebody knobbed a cuff, then don't put your 2 cents in here. You're done. You've added it. We don't want to hear you anymore. In fact, you know what? That's how I feel about that. All right. Joella, how you doing? I really do have to add some moderators for my channel. The only problem is I had moderator on my channel, but then it did not allow my moderator to view or comment on any of my videos or anything like that on my channel. So it sucked. I don't know why YouTube hates me. All right, I'm going to jump back to some handcuff talk in a moment. I need to enjoy my libations because it's Happy New Year's Eve. Hope you're all enjoying yourself. Nola, you know what's coming. Oh, let's go straight to the, oh, no, let's go straight to the NOLA pick. Dun, 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 dun. Now, this is a great pick company. Multi-Pick was the first sponsor of Mitten Made Lock Sport. They've been a huge sponsor, a huge product sponsor, sending stuff to me and directly to my guys. Nola's a big fan. He actually taught me to understand how useful the long reach was as a pick. However, he don't like what I do to him. Oh, look at that. That is bent in like 7 different directions. It's a corkscrew, Nola. It's a corkscrew. Yeah. And it's a corkscrew because we're going to talk about the swoop. So, the pointy pokey. Now, with something like this, you can still achieve a pointy pokey in some things if it can fit and get into the right spot. But if you don't know where the spot is, you can't hit the spot, you can't work the spot from there. What you're going to do with something like this, or a half ball, or some sort of diamond, or some sort of hook, something that has a little bit of curve going off to one direction. You're going to put it into the keyway with the curve dragging behind. So I want to hit this spot here. The pointy pokey, I want to attack with the point forward. The swoop, I'm going to come in, and as I get around to that spot, I got to lean a little bit this way and lean a little bit this way to get the hook to move around underneath. If this is the opening of the keyway, it's got to move underneath like that to catch what you got to catch. So when I come around like that, I catch it and I open it. So you're dragging it behind as you're passing through the pathway, and you're opening what you got to open. Right there. Now, oh, he's hitting a button on the other side. All that stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we'll do it. We'll do it dangling. It's harder to get it, but you know what I mean? There we go. Dangling. No hand touching the body of the cuff, just holding the chain. Kaizo Fox, what? Also, cop cars are always locked. You can actually kick the window off from the inside with both feet. I don't know. Why do people say that? Hey, you got out of handcuffs. Let me explain this impossible situation. I didn't say I'm escaping from cops, man. You know what I mean? That's just silly. Add Diana? Yeah, I can't. Can I add anyone right now? Can I add you while you're in motion? Oh. I can do it en route. Oh, there you go. I didn't know I could do it en route. There we go. I got a moderator. Delete as necessary, brother. That's what I'm talking about. Not too dead. I'm not adding you as a moderator because it screwed up your ability to fucking be on my shit last time. And that pissed me off. All right. So we're talking handcuffs. You're figuring out how to do this pointy pokey, the swoopy. Means you're picking cuffs. And then you want to figure out how to pop some double locks. Well, the important thing of the swoopy is if you go swoopy in reverse, you basically hit your double locks. So, same thing with the key. You're going to put your key in, turn your key till it touches something, and then you're going to pay attention to where that angle is right there. So right about there is where the thing you're going to engage is to be able to pop this over. So when you get, we're going to go ahead. The best thing to work this with is a ball or half ball pick. That's the best way to learn, and then you can start taking it down to kind of smaller hook profiles, and you'll know what you're looking for. But with this, it's a great way to start. And again, as you're going to have a little bit of lean this way, a little bit of lean this way, so it comes around underneath the inside of the opening to catch the bar that you're pushing across. Oop, where's it at? Right there. All right. So, let's see if we can get it so you can see it. You see it's depressed. I'm going to get in here. Oop. I'm going to fight the keyway because I don't want to do it. All right, hold on. All right, did you see that pop forward right there? And then now I can do that. That means the double lock is released. So the swoop, the trail behind swoop method, in my opinion, I'm sure there's other, ways of going about it, is the easiest way to hit the double locks. It's a great way to learn to do the single lock. So it's an awesome technique to start getting at both. Now, I'm starting to be able to get a straighty, pointy, pokey thing pop at the double lock, but you got to be way more precise when you're doing that and have the way more precise tool. And so I don't want to rely on precise. I just want to rely on being able to get out more often. That's my point. My plan. All right. Are there any questions? Yeah, it's great. Again, man, I don't like to be too depressing, but as a child, I was handcuffed and restrained against my will, and bad things were done to me. I had to get out of restraints. I actually had to chew my way out of restraints one time, and it's a very haunting memory that has scarred me for my entire life. It might explain my desperation for wanting to get out of handcuffs and chains and manacles and such things. Uh, it actually is really good too. I'll tell you that as a therapeutic thing. Being terrified of being restrained and claustrophobic and having the childhood I did, being able to get out of these makes me a lot more comfortable being in them. So I think if a cop were to put me in some cuffs, I would just be kind of relaxed, knowing, I mean, if he just disappeared, or if what's the zombie? Oh shoot, Rick. What's the goddamn zombie show with Rick and Carl? Carl. Walking Dead. If Walking Dead happened while I was in cuffs, I'd be able to get out of the cuffs. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'd deal with the zombies, but I'd get out of the cuffs. And that's important to me. Okay, so you're working your way up. You've learned to shim, you've learned to pick, you've learned to double lock. You're starting to play with holes up, holes down, bows up, bows down. Next logical progression is kind of move behind your back. That's kind of lesson 2, in my opinion, for stuff like that. So in lesson 1 of picking, what you would do from here is get a hold of a different set of cuffs. Now the Peerless, which I suggest you start on, 700C, are horizontal keyway. And then your Chicago, your Smith & Wesson, your ASP are, wait, did I do that wrong? Yeah, that one's horizontal. These are vertical. Sorry, man, it's getting late. So you move over. I think the Chicagos are pretty close to comparable to the Peerless. You can practice up most of your same bypasses. Not quite as susceptible to the paperclip side shim, but you can move to this keyway. You can start picking and moving into different different set, different branded cuffs. There's little differences. And then if you really want to kind of step it up to a harder, tighter tolerance in the keyway, way tighter tolerance on the shimming and blocking aside shimming and things like that, you would move up to the Smith & Wesson Model 100s. The double lock is probably the same, honestly. If you want to have yourself some fun, get yourself the ASP Sentries, which were actually made by a handcuff company, and they were made on the advice of police. And these things are kind of a joke. So, just to show you how much of a joke they are, I'll go ahead and give it the old condom test. If a condom can get you out of your handcuffs without really trying, your handcuffs suck. There you go. Yeah. So if you want to have fun and kind of just do basic practicing, and yeah, these are the ones to get. They have a push through double lock and keyhole on both sides, so there's no such thing as holes up or holes down. And they have an entire array of handcuffs that are overpriced and easy to beat. ASP. After you go from dealing with all these things, you're going to move your way up into hinged cuffs. The thing about hinged cuffs is you have less distance between your wrists, and you do not have the ability to flip your wrist up to reach around to the other side of the cuff. So this pair is the 802C hinged from Peerless, which my local police carry the 801C hinged, and the only difference between the 1 and the 2 is the stainless finish or the black finish, and I thought the black finish would look nice. But I wanted to know if I could get out of the handcuffs that my local police carried. And so those are the handcuffs my local police carry. Those are a good pair. Again, Peerless, Chicago, pretty comparable. If you want a little bit tighter tolerances and a little bit harder to get, you move up to the Smith & Wesson, and then you start branching out into other things. Past your hinged, I did have another pair of hinged here, I thought. It doesn't matter. Past your hinge, you start getting into a rigid cuff, which there's no hinge. It's just stiff. There's a little flex in these because they are a... Oh, that was right. Folding rigid cuff. So they fold up to fit into, a holster, be able to easily be carried. When you need them, you pull them out, you pop them, you slap them, and they're stuck. These ones, actually, if you notice, push your wrists a lot further out as opposed to pulling them in like these do, which when you're trying to reach for the hole and do stuff like that, it's its own little challenge. So let me see if I can get in here. Get out. I haven't done these in a while. I might need the other pick. There's a pile of... Those are modern police cuffs. I mean, we live in an entire world where they're cuffs all over the place, and everything I've got's bought from cuff companies. Even if it's their easy cuff or their last year's model or anything like that, they're used. They were used a year ago. They were, and if they're not the cuffs used quite right now, they're the cuffs you should learn on before you start using the cuffs that are right now. So there's always a win. I'm gonna go to... I need a swoopy. This is the side of these with a very, very, very tight tolerance for some stupid reason. So I need out of those. And that, my friends, is kind of the basics of learning how to get out of cuffs. So if there's something I can show you, please ask. Something I can tell you, please ask. That's me buying time so I drink some beer. Yeah, Dave. Tequila Dave is like one of the big... And GP Ryder, if he's in here still. Shacklemen. The Shacklemen Cuff Club. I don't know if I mentioned it. Co-founded by Not Too Dead, who was in here earlier, if he's not still here. That's our handcuff and escape club. You can search the Shacklemen hashtag. You find a bunch of us on there. You got Coxie and Deadlocks and Random Jim and Lock Dude and W3OY Ray and just a whole bunch of awesome people. And our motto is, open is open, off is off. I don't care how it gets done. Get the lock popped, get the cuffs off. Is it actually midnight yet? Oh, it's past midnight. Okay, sweet. Handcuffs are yay. I don't know what the hell people are saying. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. Scrolling back just to make sure. Yeah, well, Trolla. I called you Trolla without even thinking about it. Trolla Nothball. Yeah, I went and did that accidentally or just randomly. I'm not adding Diana, you Psycho. Anyway. Well, man, I had a good time. I thought I would just jump on. I wanted to kill some time and say hi and thank you and see who was out there and all that kind of good stuff, man. We're going to be doing some more of this week. I need to kind of hone my teaching skills. So look for some more Shacklemen After Dark. Learn to pick handcuffs. Look for me to do some stupid escapes. Am I going to kidnap someone? No, I'm not telling you. In fact, never put handcuffs on anyone other than yourself unless they've asked you to. In lock sport, we say don't pick locks you don't own and do not pick locks in use. In escape artistry, we also say, on top of those, don't endanger yourself and don't uh, put people in restraints. You want to escape from handcuffs? Go ahead. You can't make that choice for someone else. So, yeah, the swoopy method rocks, Dave. Swoopy. Swoopy. Hashtag swoopy if we were doing something like that. But so I'm going to bounce out. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for showing up. And love y'all. I hope 2025 is great for you. I know the Shacklemen and Mitt Made Lock Sport and all my groups and boys and people and girls all around Lock Sport. We're all going to have a good year because we're all going to band together and make sure we all have a good year. So that's what we do. Y'all take care. Love you.